Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a quick video today, and I promise you it's going to be quick. Basically, I'm going to show you guys how to take your J-cups as well as your safety spotter arms and just class them up a little bit. So small details matter in a garage gym. So I'm going to show you guys how to pimp out your J-cups, and this is what it's going to look like afterwards. More often than not, the question that I end up getting when it comes to small details such as J-cups, for instance, if you've watched my video on how I lined the back of my J-cups so that they didn't ping as much, I'll post it up here so you can watch that if you haven't seen it yet. But I feel like a lot of these small details really matter. We put a lot of effort into our gyms. We put a lot of money into barbells, and those barbells have very specific knurling. We want to take care of the things that we have. And one of the ways that we can do that is finding small companies. Now, there's two companies I'm going to be talking about today. The first one is Rack Sheath. Now, Rack Sheath is this brand new company, and they have this product that basically goes over the top of J-cups. They have different versions. They have some that are for combo racks. They have some that are for Monster Series or 1-inch hardware series. Some that are for Monster Light series, but basically a couple different products that put a barrier between your nice barbell and whatever kind of rack and or J-cup that you're actually installing it in. The nice part is that they go on really easy and they look really sharp, and I'll show you guys how to do that right now. All right, so this is how the Rack Sheath comes. It just comes as a single sheet. All that you have to do to install it is peel this back, and while we're doing this we can actually look. This is all the wear and tear that's happened to it, and I have been abusing this thing for the past few weeks, and there is almost no wear and tear. There's a little bit, and I can tell you that that's actually from my duffalo bar. Seems to have the most aggressive knurling on this, causing a little bit of fraying, but overall not much wear at all. So this goes over the top. This just slips right in the bottom, and then just lay the Velcro, and if you want to be super neat about it, just go careful. There's your Rack Sheath. So now what you have is basically a barrier that protects your bar from wear inside the rack. Now, you may find yourself asking the question like, hey, isn't there UHMW plastic in there? Why exactly are we taking these extra steps? And really, I feel like the answer would just be, one, just kind of that little bit extra. Two, the ability to be able to customize the colors of the Rack Sheath to the gym that you're in. And three, what if you didn't have the UHMW on there? What if you had worn through your UHMW plastic, or you just wanted to take it off altogether and basically just have the steel there, not have to worry about replacing the UHMW? You know, I don't know if that's something that I would do, but that's where it can be beneficial. But real quick, just want to show you guys what it looks like on the rack itself. Again, this is the one that I just threw on there. Personally, I think it looks kind of cool with the colors. Now, I don't know if black and red would have been my first color choices. But I don't hate it. It actually matches the red felt that I had put on before. And then I'm going to show you the other one real quick. This one has fared a lot better, and has a lot less wear on it. The next company I wanted to tell you guys about was Aperture Engineering, which, first off, one of the coolest business cards I've ever seen. I found this guy on Instagram. He's a military member, and I'm all about veteran business, and so I decided to go ahead and purchase two different things. One, I purchased the lips for the J-cups, as well as I purchased the front of the rack safeties. Now this one's already installed right here, and here's the J-cup installed. Overall, I really like it. It's a 3D printed product, but it seems really well made. Obviously, this 3D printer that he's working on has some pretty tight tolerances. And the best part is that installation is pretty easy. So here's the installation for the spotter safety arms, safety spotter arms. So you literally just take this thing, center it on the rack, on the safety spotter arm with the UHMW, and then just push. And there's a small notch, small little nub that is going to catch this hole in the bottom of your safety spotter arm. Not sure if you're able to see it. There's a small hole right there. But there you have it. Install on those is a breeze. Now for the J-cups, it's a little bit more in depth on the install, and I'll show you that now. So what you'll want to do is get a 5/32 Allen wrench and remove the two screws. Remove the two screws that hold the UHMW plastic onto the J-cup. Then you'll want to take your piece, and you'll see that it's notched, and slide it over the front. Literally just slide it over, and you'll see that you can line up the holes for the original holes on your UHMW. Put your UHMW back on top, and that's the install. Nice and complete. The 3D printed J-cup and safety spotter arms, those are brand new today. I've never actually used those yet, but I'm going to use those today for my press training. And there should be some decently high rep stuff in there. I think I have some rest pause tonight, so I'll include some footage of that occurring. But I wanted to give you guys just a real quick initial review, initial impressions on what I actually think about the Rack Sheath product. Now, I think the Rack Sheath product is really cool. I got this thing early. I think I won like a giveaway on Instagram. I don't actually remember how it happened. And then the pandemic kicked off and everything got delayed, but they eventually arrived. And I really got to give props to these things because I set out with the mission of destroying them. Because to me, it didn't really seem like they would last that long, but they've done super well in the garage gym. Now it's me and between 1 to 3 other people that use my garage gym. We tend to use the Ohio Power Bar a lot, so decently aggressive knurling. I also use the Duffalo bar quite a bit. I even threw the deadlift bar in the rack with these things just to see how they would hold up. And the wear that you saw earlier on the other cup, I'll show you again, is the only wear that's actually on it. It's just that right there. Just that little bit. The other one shows nothing. And what the wear actually came from was overly hard use, basically with the Duffalo bar. It was off center, and so I just manually forced it over, and it caused the rack sheath to kind of fray a little bit. But since it's frayed probably 2 weeks ago, it hasn't frayed any more than that. Rack Sheath says they're going to be selling these things for like $60 a pair, I believe is what they said. You can find them on Instagram and you can ask them more. There's going to be some customization that's available with these products if they turn out, which I think they will. I think they're really good products. Not only does it protect your bar on top of the UHMW, which will, I mean, it could eventually wear your knurling down, as you see from going to any CrossFit gym where they have UHMW line J-cups, but it also protects your bar in the same way that these ones do, where it protects the front lip, which is usually just steel, from impacting the knurling of your bar directly. All right, so that's it for tonight's use. So basically feelings about these two systems side by side. So one, this thing stood up really well. This is the Aperture Engineering 3D printed J-cup lip. Held up super well, and it only has a tiny bit of wear where I forcibly basically rolled the power bar against it. I just wanted to see kind of how resilient it would be. Now, I tend to always roll my bar to the front of the J-cup before I pick up out of the bench. So I feel like that kind of wear is not uncommon. I also did some fairly aggressive re-racking during the rest pause cycle on both sides. I was using a foo bar for that. It's a 50-pound, 1.5 inch solid bar. And there is pretty much no visible wear from that happening. There's nothing to really show on either side. So this basically begs the question, so really, why are we doing this? So realistically, it's to take care of your bar. So if you were to hit the front of your bar on this as you're coming out of the rack, or if you roll your bar to the front before you actually pick up to do your bench press, this might be something that you want to get just because of the fact that you're not going to be rolling up your bar to bare steel or to this powder coated steel, which will inevitably start to wear down your knurling. How is that different from the rack sheath? That's the big question. And if I'm going to be honest, I really don't know if I prefer one of these over the other. I like the fact that there's more color options with the 3D printed version, but we also don't know what Rack Sheath is going to offer yet because they really haven't hit the mainstream. I guess if I was hypothesizing about what might be the best use for the Rack Sheath, it would be out of the rack training with like a high grade Olympic barbell. So I'm talking like an Eleiko with some really nice knurling that you don't want to ruin. I'm sure that eventually the knurling will start to wear down, even if it's just touching UHMW plastic. And like I said before, if you go to any big CrossFit box, you can see where the bars basically get put in the rack over and over and over again because the knurling does start to wear off after a while. So the Rack Sheath might be the answer to a lot of people's questions. Plus, you'll be able to get color options. And one of the other little hidden benefits is with a normal J-cup, you basically throw it on. And even though I have put this extra padding on mine, it basically is going to slam down into position. With the Rack Sheath, it actually tightens up this tolerance because it extends onto the back of the actual J-cup itself. So when you throw it in the rack, it's basically a tighter tolerance and it doesn't want to move. There's actually no play in that whatsoever. And again, versus this one, that does have play. But anyways, two options for you guys to potentially choose. What do you think? Do you think you should just leave J-cups alone? Do you think this is something worth exploring? Let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys watching each and every single week. And remember, when it comes to garage gyms, you should always be better, always awesome, and always badass.